Tony and Richard Morton privately own Tembani Wildlife, a 3,200-hectare private game reserve situated 25 kilometers from Thabazimbi in the Limpopo Province. We went to visit them.
Prior to game farming, I was a cattle farmer in the Eastern Cape, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to tour a game breeding operation in the Limpopo Province, which I duly did. And what impressed me to start with was the beauty of the animals. I mean, the animals are so magnificent. Being a cattle farmer, looking at these stunning buffalo and sable definitely aroused my interest. So a couple of visits later, I went back home down to Kenton-on-Sea, said to my wife, start packing, we're going game farming. She thought, you crazy, are you serious? Dead serious. So in those days, game farming centered in the northern province, today the Limpopo province. So we decided we needed to move up here. So I looked around for a suitable property to breed and bought a farm on the Botswana border, obviously in South Africa. And that's where I started breeding, way back in 1996, I think it was. And as the years ticked by, I started off with sable and roan and inyala. As the years ticked by, I said to my wife, you know, we're not getting any younger, so maybe we need to move closer to town. So we looked around for a suitable property, and Mount Joy came on the market, and we duly purchased it. I, in my ignorance, thought that I could develop it, living out on the other farm, which is like an hour's drive from here, on the most horrific roads. And I found that it didn't really work, so I put it on the market. Richard got wind of the fact that Dad was selling the farm and thought to himself, I'm in business in Johannesburg with my partner. I really enjoy the courier business, but I would love to go back onto a farm. And so it didn't take too long before Richard joined me, started developing this farm, which was an overgrown cattle farm, very thick sickle bush, no infrastructure. No one lived on the farm, and he moved in a caravan with his little puppy and started developing. Richard developed the farm to the extent that I was able to move some of our animals over from the other farm to here. Having done that, I then sold that farm and then joined Richard here. So basically the development work has been done by Richard. And for the last, I don't know how many years, he has in actual fact been running the farm, running it very successfully and building it up. I think what was important for us at Tembani in being awarded the two major awards at the WRSA is that it reinforced our belief that what we were doing on the farm is the correct way to approach it, and that we should continue working along those same lines. We need to run an ethical business. We need to concentrate on quality, because quality breeds quality. And I'm a firm believer it costs the same amount of money to raise a poor animal as it does to raise a quality animal. Therefore, our emphasis from day one, and it's still the same, has always been to breed quality. Richard, in joining me, understood exactly what my aims were in terms of breeding, and he certainly carried along in exactly the same direction. Richard started the development here in 2004, and he's the one who's got the farm to the extent that it is. So rather than listen to me, why don't you talk to Richard?
In our next conversation, we get to know Richard a little bit better.
I started here in April 2004 after showing interest in game farming. At the time I was in business in Joburg, recently married, and about 6 years ago, running the farm on my own, with just a few staff, I realized that the operation had got to a size, your integrity's got to be at a top level. You know, one bad sale and you've ruined your name. All aspects regards to the animals, from a record keeping perspective, the game capture side of them, the DNA, so that we have accurate records when we're selling our animals.